Hello, hello, hello. Knits for Sanity here, and welcome to my second knitting whip and chat. If you're unfamiliar with what a whip and chat is, it's pretty simple. Whip, W-I-P, stands for work in progress, which for me tonight is continuation of my last fundraiser shawl. Pattern is Freesia by Annie Baker. I have modified it somewhat, so it is a little bit different from the original pattern, but pattern is Freesia by Annie Baker, which she, I believe, does have a website that you can actually go and check out her other stuff too. I will put a link to that in the notes. So that's my work in progress, but your work in progress could be knitting, crochet, diamond painting, acrylic painting, making bracelets, or even cleaning your kitchen or taking a walk. Whatever your work in progress is, pull it out, get busy. And the chat part is you sit here and listen to me talk for anywhere from about 40 to 60 minutes. So that is a whip and chat, and it is wonderful having you here. So, like I said, this is my last commission knit from a fundraiser that was done in May. And if you're super curious about that and how wrestling and knitting are connected, you can listen to the first knitting whip and chat. And I'd like to mention again here too that really the difference between my knitting whip and chats and my diamond painting whip and chats is really it's non-existent. The only difference is that in the diamond painting ones, my work in progress is a diamond painting, and my knitting ones, obviously my work in progress is a knitting project. And certainly at the beginning of the videos, the focus may be slightly more on the one craft that I am doing for that particular whip and chat. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same thing. So if you don't knit, but you do diamond paint, please don't feel like you can't participate in the knitting whip and chats. And vice versa. If you are a knitter, but you have never diamond painted, same thing. You can still do the diamond painting or DP knitting chats because it's really just the same stuff. And then you get to hear the continuation of whatever stories or sagas I may be in the middle of. In this case, we don't really have any ongoing stories or sagas at present. However, I am settling in for what could be a pretty long night. Looking at the radar, looks like we are going to have a continuation of some storms on and off all night long. Currently, my dog, who normally is gated off in the kitchen to sleep, that's just what we do with him. He is gated in the kitchen at night. Well, he hates storms, and the gate that we have is broken, and he's a strong boy. He's a 60-pound bulldog and tons of strength. He would break down that gate completely tonight. So we went ahead and we let him out, and he is currently sleeping underneath my bed. So he and my husband are probably going to start snoring in unison pretty quickly. They'll probably start farting too, but shh, don't tell anyone that I told you that about my husband. That's all right. He watches these anyway. He'll learn that I made it public knowledge. He'll be somewhat okay with it. So the bulldog is sleeping under our bed, and he's farty, and I mean, he is. He's very gassy and smells really bad. So do my husband's. And he snores. So does my husband. And anyway, so I got the dog. And then I have one child in particular that really hates storms. So she's already been out tonight. Hopefully, at least half of the household will get a decent night of sleep. I don't know. I am banking on being up most all night long between the dog and the child, but we'll see. We will see. You know, I remember as a kid too, I was really terrified of thunderstorms. And it's weird because much like my daughter now, she's 12 years old, you know, she understands that for the most part, there really isn't anything to be afraid of with thunderstorms, but they're still very disruptive. The fear comes from the unexpected. You never know when you're going to see that huge flash of lightning, and then you never know how long it's going to take from that flash of lightning to the roll of thunder. And then you don't know how loud of a clap of thunder it will be. Of course, you know, the closer the storm, the shorter the time period between the lightning bolt and the thunderclap. And generally, the closer the storm, the louder the thunderclap. But there's still that unknown element to it. And I did not like surprises as a kid. I don't like surprises as an adult. I hated Jack-in-the-Boxes. I still don't like Jack-in-the-Boxes. And my daughter is much the same. Now, as an adult, I have realized I am definitely less bothered by thunderstorms, but I think it's really just because I am that much more exhausted. As a mom of 4 children, and having been a mom now for very nearly 14 years, I have not actually slept in 14 years. So I think it's just sheer exhaustion that makes thunderstorms less apprehensive of an event for me. So that's going to be not my night. But since my last Wip and Chat, which I finally was able to record Wednesday night, I was hoping to get it uploaded Thursday. I did not, however, manage to get it uploaded until Friday night. This is because of the lack of decent internet in our area. One thing I have realized, however, is that last Wip and Chat that I did went long. That was over an hour and about 20 minutes longer than my previous 2. And I think that extra 20 minutes makes a difference. So I'm going to have to keep my eye on the time and try and cut this one a little bit shorter and just keep that in mind for the future. But my hope and plan is that I will record Sunday nights a knitting Wip and Chat for a Monday release. And I will record on Wednesday nights a DP Wip and Chat for a hopeful Thursday release. And again, all crafters, whether you knit or diamond paint or do something different, you are more than welcome to add your 2 cents and fill me in with what craft it is that you do while you listen to Wip and Chats. I would love to know. There are so many things that I would love to try and explore, and if I can meet some of you who are perhaps doing one of these things that have always intrigued me, I would love to learn more about your selected craft. Speaking of selected crafts, knitting is, like I have said, my first and lifelong love. I have been knitting since I was 4, on and off until my mid-20s, when it became a very consistent and regular part of my life. Early to mid-20s, actually. It was shortly after I got married. So I have been a very consistent, regular knitter for very nearly 20 years. And like I said, I have actually been knitting since I was 4. All that to say, I have a lot of knitting experience. Not only have I been knitting for decades, but I have also done a lot in the world of knitting. And thinking about that and listening to some other Wip and Chats and following some other threads and stuff that talk about knitting and questions about knitting and interest in knitting, I am seriously considering starting a short video, step-by-step knitting tutorial playlist. So obviously there is a plethora of knitting videos on YouTube, but over time they do tend to get buried. And I am hoping that for the fact that I also am heavily involved in the diamond painting community, perhaps my videos will be able to reach a population that, while very intrigued and interested by knitting, is not necessarily sure how to break into that community. One thing that I have not really experienced, because I started with knitting before the advent of YouTube being used as a platform for instruction for knitting, before Ravelry was created, I naturally started with all of these platforms more or less as they rolled out. I started on Ravelry, I believe, in 2009, and Ravelry originated in either 07 or 08. If you are unfamiliar with Ravelry, it is a fiber arts type community website. It's extremely comprehensive for knitting and crochet patterns. There are all kinds of different forums that you can be a part of. Several stores have representation there. Individual designers do. For example, I have both it's all one account, but there is like the personal knitting version of me on there. And then there is also my Knits for Sanity designer page on there too. So it's excellent for wanting to look up a type of yarn and reading reviews and comments about it. It's excellent for searching patterns. And this is one thing that just has really made Ravelry, in my opinion, a very valuable tool for a knitter or crocheter. Because you're able to actually sort and search patterns based on a number of different factors. You can sort based off from the yarn that you have. So let's say you have, 5 skeins of one type of yarn, but you're not sure what to do with it. You can actually go about a search 2 different ways. You can look up that yarn itself and then see patterns that have been created using that yarn as other knitters post their projects. So you can look through and see, these people made, this toddler sweater, or these people made this shawl out of it. So that is one way to search what you could do with your yarn. And again, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, one more. You can also do a very, very broad search and start to narrow it down. So you can put in that your yarn is of a certain weight. If you want, you can add the fiber content of that yarn, and then you can start to further filter all of the pattern results that come up. You can specify, is it knitting? Is it crochet? Is it machine knitting? You can then specify, I have no interest in kid knits, but I am very interested in women's knits. Okay. And then out of the women's knits, you can start searching, filtering through that too. Do you like accessories? Are you thinking of vest? So the search database is really very impressive. And I am horrible about posting completed projects of mine on there, which really is not, it's really not a good thing, because part of what helps make the database so successful is by having all other crafters post their completed projects, stating the kind of yarn they used, how much yardage or meterage it took to complete a project. What did you think of the pattern? What did you think of the yarn? You know, that's actually what helps make the database so good. But I am horrible about posting projects. In fact, I have not posted a knitting project on Ravelry in definitely over a year. Yep. I just don't do it. And that really is shameful. I mean, I have knit a lot of items since probably last June is probably the last time I did. So anyway, circling that all back around to, now that you know what Ravelry is, my thoughts about maybe creating relatively short, you know, I'm talking just a few minutes long, you know, 5 to 8-ish minutes, depending on what I'm covering, step-by-step knitting basics and eventually some not-so-basics. So starting with like just one video for how do you do a long tail cast on, or how do you do a knitted on cast on, or even possibly how do you read a ball band, and then, you know, how to do the knit stitch, how to do the purl stitch, but just keeping it very, very simple. So it's just one technique or one topic per video. So anyway, that's just something that I'm kind of playing around with. Because knitting is something that I do know very, very well. There are a few things in life where I feel very comfortable. Actually, yeah, no, there are maybe 2 things, maybe 3 things in life that I feel very comfortable saying, I know a lot about this, and I can teach a lot about this. And knitting is one of those 2 or 3 things. So just kind of let me know what you think. But beyond that, back to our ongoing life. So Thursday, Thursday was a pretty boring day. The only kind of eventful thing that happened is that afternoon we started to get some rain. My son is in flag football, and the communication with flag football, or really any of the youth football program, is not phenomenal. So people were like asking, is there still practice tonight? You know, is practice happening? And nobody ever confirmed that yes, practice is still occurring, or no, practice has been canceled. Well, at 5 o'clock, practice begins at 6, and we need to leave by about 5:25, 5:30. So at 5 o'clock, I decided, forget it. It is still raining. Even if it were to stop raining right now, this second, it has been raining so much for the last couple of hours that the field that he plays on is going to be drenched. We're not going. You know, I just made the call. We're not doing practice tonight. So I have no idea. To this day, I still don't know if they held practice Thursday night or not. I have no clue. Tomorrow night, I'll probably find out, because tomorrow night he has practice again. And then, you know, I might get at, well, why wasn't Havelock here? Sorry, that was my son. You know, why isn't your son here? And I'll just say, look, I was kind of looking for some information. Was practice happening or not? And no one told me. And I went, well, it's raining. I'm saying it's canceled. For a first grader, and it's just flag football, it's not worth it to me to have my kid out there in the rain practicing. That just seems nuts. So that was Thursday. Friday, I had to get groceries, and I was hoping that I was originally going to do groceries Thursday, and that just didn't work out for various reasons. So then Friday, I went in to do groceries, and I was hoping I'd be able to upload my last Wip Chat Friday while I was in town. However, even though it is actually a city that I went to, as opposed to, I don't even actually live in a city or a town or a village. So I was hoping that by going into an actual city to shop, maybe I would have good enough of a connection that I could upload that video. I didn't. This city, there was not any kind of 5G network availability, nothing. So I couldn't finish uploading then. But then that evening, we had the first varsity football game of the season, and that was at the neighboring school district. So we went to that, and I had made the file size of this video as small as possible and did a few other tricks and tweaks and was able to start downloading that last Wip Chat at the football game. There was a decent, stable connection there. I mean, again, not 5G network or anything like that, but the fact that I was sitting in one spot for a few hours, it was a stable connection because we were on a high school campus, I think. I was able to start downloading. I got most of it, uploaded. I got most of it uploaded while we were at the game. And then the last 20% I was able to upload at home. So it took 4 hours plus to upload that last Wip Chat after almost 48 hours of attempting to do it. So that's just a little slice of what behind the scenes with my YouTube channel, what that looks like. Oh, I hear a kid wandering. I'm sure it's my number 2, the one afraid of storms. But I think she heard me filming and just left. Yeah, you know, it's starting to pick up again out there too. I hear more rain, and I'm starting to hear more thunder again in the distance. So we'll see how long I'm able to film before the noise of the weather gets to be too much, where that's all you'll hear and you won't hear me anymore. The football game was low stress. That's what we'll say. It was a very low stress game. We kind of slaughtered the other team. Fortunately, you know, they did have a couple of decent plays. So, I mean, it wasn't, I hope they didn't feel like it was like a total, complete waste of their time because they were just hammered. But yeah, there was really no stress at any point of the game, any real concern that we were going to lose. And our guys played quite well. You know, there were a couple of mishaps that they really should have known better kind of stuff, but it was a good game. They did well. Hold on, I need to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know what? That's the second time exactly where I was 1 short when I was counting with you all here. We go to the games because we have a family, a local family that we've become very close to, a few different members of this family. And actually it's multiple families within one family. You know, we live in the rural area and almost everyone is related. We are one of the very few people that have zero relation in the area. I have joked with another friend that, it's a good thing we came. They needed some fresh blood here. But, that's not entirely a joke. Anyway, so in this case, it's two families. It's two brothers with their wife and kids. And we've gotten close with members of both families. And so one boy is a senior in high school this year. And my second daughter has become very close with him over the years. They have a very neat friendship story. If you happen to follow the Vedabug Chronicles, you will know about it. This young man makes an appearance and mention frequently. He's just a neat kid. I love him dearly. I truly love him like one of my own and kind of consider him an adopted nephew. He's a sweet kid. He's a neat kid. And it's important to all of us that we go to support him, especially his senior year. But then the other family, I'm very, very good friends with this brother's wife. They also live around the corner from us. And their oldest is a junior and plays on the varsity team. And I will also try and check out 1 or 2 JV games. It's harder because those are on the same night that my son has flag football practice. But I want to check out a couple of JV games too because their second son is a sophomore and plays on the JV team. So that's why we attend football games. And they're honestly a lot of fun. I never really understood or got into football as a kid. It wasn't till my daughter started playing tackle football a few years ago that I began to really take an interest. I took the time to really get to know and understand the rules. And doing that and watching her team play and stuff, I started to realize the appeal of American football. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the games this season. Oh, Friday night ended up being a late night. Saturday, we did housework, and then that evening we went to some friends. It was supposed to be for a bonfire, but we really only ended up doing the barbecue. And then we left a little bit before 9:30, I think. The whole family was tired. We were all a little bit cranky. It was just time to go. We had a wonderful time at this friend's house, and they had a couple of other couples there, and one of them had, oh, hold on. Wait just a minute. Wait a minute. That daughter number 2 popped in here, and she has a show and tell item. Where are you going? Get back here.
Okay.
Why don't you, I'll move my knitting.
Okay.
Why don't you put this under there and tell them what that is?
Okay. Can they see it? Okay. This is a crocheted pumpkin. I made it.
Isn't that cute? I call them gourds because she has made these in several different colors. Just like, gourds are. But yeah, this is a little crocheted pumpkin. This one, she put a cute little face on there. Isn't that adorable? So how many of these have you made?
Maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. Okay. I'm not keeping track.
She says 4 or 5. She's not keeping track. She does, however, now have 3 orders.
Oh.
Yeah, you got one more. Yes, she is making these to eventually sell them, but at this point she already has 3 orders. So this is your first one with a face though, right?
Yeah, I don't have that many face materials. Only the eyes that come from kits.
Oh, I see. She is complaining because she doesn't have a whole lot of face material. She would like more safety eyes. She only has these eyes from some different kits that she has.
Yeah, I took those from a Harry Potter crochet kit.
Oh, okay. So I should probably look into finding this child more safety eyes, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, she agrees. So anyway, thank you for that little show and tell.
You're welcome.
Okay. Try and, get some rest, sweetheart. All right. Good night, love. Yes, that would be child number 2, the one afraid of storms, doing her show and tell. She is my crocheter. She is my wrestling lover. Yes, child number 2. There you go. So that was Saturday night. We had a great time, but we had to come home. We had to get to bed. I was exhausted. I mean, exhausted. My husband and I were trying to watch The Sandman on Netflix, and I kept dozing off, which is not like me at all. Not at all. I love film and television, and I love stories, and I was just so beat that I was nodding off. And then today was kind of a catch-up day. I had some emails that I had to send out, and I worked some more on this, and I worked more on my diamond painting. Just a few different odds and ends. And now I'm here with all of you. So that's the little synopsis of what's happened since my last Wip Chat. Oh, it is definitely starting to pick up and rain out there. We'll see. I'll try and get through this row, and then we may have to be done for the evening. You see some stitch markers in the corner of the screen. Those are actually from Barrett Wool Company, Susan B. Anderson. She and her son, her eldest, I believe he is still involved with it. The two of them run this company that she now has, the Barrett Wool Company. She releases adorable knitting kits. Not all her own patterns. She will collaborate with a lot of other designers. She has her own yarn line now, and then she also has a number of different accessories, including these super handy knitting markers, where one is for larger size needles, and then one is more for like your lace knitting, fingering knitting size needles. They are my favorites. I love them. They come in multiple colors, so you can color code different things if you need to. Like if you're working on a lace pattern, you can section out each section. Just a super handy little tool. But I have them there on my desk because they're cheerful. I love the little glass containers with the cork, and I kind of use them as decoration, but it's practical decoration. I actually use it. Oh yeah, it's really coming down. So to recap, let me know what kind of a craft it is that you do. If it's multiples, let me know. Tell me what it is that you're working on right now. I would love to hear. Let me know what you think about short, single topic instructional videos related to knitting. Tell me if you have any advice about dogs and thunderstorms, or slightly older children and thunderstorms. We would definitely appreciate it in this household. And I guess finally, just let me know how you're doing. How has your week been? Have you survived back to school? Do you need to survive back to school? If you don't, part of me is kind of jealous. And like I have said before, because I've decided that I am becoming a real YouTuber, If you happen to enjoy my ramblings, please consider subscribing to my channel. I really want to get to 100 subscribers so I can change my URL, because right now it's a bunch of random letters and numbers and I hate it. My OCD cannot handle that. I need to have it be a URL that's for Knits for Sanity. So I need 100 subscribers to make that happen. And please like this video, like my other videos. I would appreciate it immensely. Until the next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you are kind, and I hope everything goes smoothly for you.